Yo, yo, what's up, family? Make sure I can be heard. Y'all come on in the building. Come on in the building. So, can y'all hear me? Yo, yo. Okay. Y'all, let me share this um to a couple of my channels to let everybody know I'm live. Y'all come on in. We got a quick conversation. Um, I want to share this to let everybody know that I'm live right now. Y'all come in. Hope y'all doing well today. We want to talk about the double standard that the United States and the media is showing when it's a double standard that United States shows when it's their allies that is using terrorism acts and doing things um that is unconventional in war, right? So we're gonna get right into this, y'all. I just want to share this to my other pages. How y'all doing today? How y'all doing today, family? Y'all put it in the chat how y'all doing and where y'all chiming in from. Y'all know I don't like to be up here too long, so I'm gonna make this real quick and sweet to the point. But I just want y'all to pay attention and and give me feedback on what y'all think about what I'm about to talk about. I want some feedback. Here we go. Boom. One more and I'm done. All right, I'm done. I'm done. So let me do one more thing and we can get in here. Hope everybody's doing well, y'all. But I want to paint a picture to y'all real fast, right? And then after I paint this picture, I want y'all to get in the chat and tell me how do you think any country will react to this, right? How do you think their reaction would be? So let me get in here. Okay, I see it's live. We got a couple of people watching. I want to get a couple more in. So y'all, okay, it's 6 people. So y'all give me some feedback, y'all. Hope y'all doing well. All right, so let's get into it, right? So let me paint this picture for y'all, and I want you to tell me in the chat how you think United States will react to this, right? So let's say an enemy, an enemy's military, they come to United States, right? They dress in civilian clothes and they cross the border and come into America, right? This is hypothetically, all right? Let's say an enemy of the United States, let's say China, hypothetically, sends some of their soldiers here to America, right? And they put on plain clothes and somehow they get through the border, right? And when they get through the border, they smuggle drones through the border undetected, right? And they sit here. And then in about 6 months, they send the drones to hit multiple US bases in America. If this were to happen here in America, what do you think the America media and the president would say if this hypothetically happened here? Let me say it again. Let's say China sent some of their soldiers over here, but instead of them wearing their uniform, they put on civilian clothes, right? They come through our border, they smuggle in drones through the border. Now, once they are here, they strategically find out where our military assets are. And then one day, they send all the drones out and it attack bases all over America. and then they get out of the country and leave before they get caught. My question to y'all is, how do you think America would respond to this? Can y'all put in the chat, what do you think America would say about these individuals in a country that done this? What hypothetically do y'all think they would say? I'm gonna tell you, the United States will call these folks terrorists. They will be ready to attack the country that allowed this to happen. They will investigate it, but they will swear out that this was a terrorist attack that was happened on United States soil, and they have to respond, right? This is what they would say, right? So let me share my screen, because what we don't understand when we're talking about the war that's going on in Ukraine and Russia is that scenario that I just gave you, it actually happened in Russia. That same scenario in which I just told you about enemy soldiers sneaking through the border in plain clothes, acting like civilians, sneaking drones through the border and attacking. This just happened in Russia. Now, what I want you to see is how the CNN News is talking about this, and how you have congressional members and people, listen how they talk about this, y'all. Now, remember, if this would happen to America, do you think they would talk the same way? I'm going to play this. I want y'all to listen.
Ukrainian and Russian delegations are in Istanbul for peace talks. The real story, though, this unprecedented and audacious drone attack by Ukraine on Russian airfields and bombers. Ukraine attacked bases deep inside Russia, thousands of miles from the front lines, in what they're calling Operation Spiderweb. Ukrainian officials said that dozens of Russian warplanes were destroyed. Let's get right to CNN Chief International Correspondent Nick Payton-Walsh. This is quite a backdrop for these talks, which take place shortly, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely startling, the sophistication of this raid. One of these air bases hits almost halfway across Siberia. The Ukrainian security service able to use mobile wooden homes. Essentially, the roofs of them seem to have opened up and allowed these clouds of drones, remotely piloted, to target some of Russia's most important long-range strategic bombers. 41 damaged, according to Ukraine's security service, at air bases that must have thought they were basically far enough away to be impregnable. Ukraine very keen to announce that all the people involved in this year-and-a-half-long operation have since left the country. And yet another...
You hear that? He said Ukraine announced that all of the people that was involved in this have been able to leave the country successfully. He said it out. Now I'm gonna play this again. He just said all the people that carried out this strike was able to leave the country successfully, meaning that these folks snuck into that country. Now, this is an act of terrorism, because when you at war and you can't be in plain clothes into somebody's country and make an attack. This is what terrorists does. These are terroristic acts that are being used. So I'm gonna play this again. I want y'all to hear this, man, because this shows the depth of the biasness and how far the media is to do certain things, to play on us, to make us be on their side. Listen to this. I'm gonna play it again.
They were basically far enough away to be impregnable. Ukraine very keen to announce that all the people involved in this year-and-a-half-long operation have since left the country. And yet another sign of how Ukraine's able to use its outsized use of technology to inflict significant damage on Russia's enormous military, something which, frankly, Kiev has always felt would be impregnable, but is increasingly showing its vulnerability over time. What does this mean? We don't know exactly what damage it's going to do to the nightly horrors inflicted on Ukrainian civilians by these long-range bombers. Some of them, indeed, were opened up and allowed these clouds of drones remote Siberia. The Ukrainian security service able to use mobile wooden homes. Essentially, the roofs of them seem to have opened up and allowed these clouds of drones, remotely piloted, to target some of Russia's most important long-range strategic bombers. 41 damaged, according to Ukraine's security service, at air bases that must have thought they were basically far enough away to be impregnable. Ukraine very keen to announce that all the people involved in this year-and-a-half-long operation have since left the country. And yet another sign of how Ukraine's able to use its outsized use of technology to inflict...
They are boosting that these folks sat in there for a year and a half and got out of the country successful after they done this. This is a terroristic act that these folks committed, family. And I want y'all to understand this. Let's not let this go unannounced. Like, understand. And not only did they attack them, they attacked nuclear bombers. Now, I don't know if y'all are familiar with nuclear power countries and their treaties that they have about their nuclear facilities and their nuclear capabilities and their vehicles, right? And their bombers. Everybody know that you do not attack nuclear facilities with a country that is nuclear like Russia. Everyone knows this. So what this is we better pay attention to it, y'all, because they are pushing Russia to respond in a way that everybody would say they are so wrong for what they done, not realizing that they are planning. I'm gonna keep playing this, though. We're gonna dissect this video, y'all.
Significant damage on Russia's enormous military, something which, frankly, Kiev has always felt would be impregnable, but is increasingly showing its vulnerability over time. What does this mean? We don't know exactly what damage it's going to do to the nightly horrors inflicted on Ukrainian civilians by these long-range bombers. Some of them, indeed, were old enough they were still using propellers. But it's another sign that Ukraine is able to sometimes upset the balance. And as you mentioned, too, a remarkable backdrop for these talks in Istanbul. Here's what Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky at a NATO summit in Vilnius today had to say.
If you have a 700 plus credit score, you qualify for Chase's new program where you could access up to 150.
Europe, together with America, has better weapons than Russia. We also have stronger tactical solutions. Our Operation Spiderweb yesterday proved that. Russia must feel what its losses mean. That is what will push it toward diplomacy. And when Russia takes losses in this war, it's obvious to everyone that Ukraine is the one holding the line, not just for itself, but for all of Europe.
You could see in his arrival in Vilnius, Zelensky there with a bit of a spring
y'all
in his step.
understand that this President Zelensky is supposed to be out of office, but he's still in office, right? He haven't held elections yet because he's trying to still hold on to power. I just want y'all to understand this man is a dictator, whether we like it or not. But he supposed to have held elections, but he haven't held elections yet. Now it's a lot going on that people don't talk about. All that money that got missing from the Ukraine, all the money from the U.S. that went there that is missing. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that is being hush hush that ain't nobody talking about that they hoping get swept under the rug. But let's just keep listening to these devils and how they are basically happy about what Ukraine did, knowing that they use terroristic ways to do this. They snuck people into that country, snuck the weapons into the country, and then attacked military bases. Now, listen, the guy that was in Boulder, Colorado, the one who attacked the Jewish people who were protesting, they call that man a terrorist, right? What do you say, John? Military complex needs dismantling. But they called the guy in Boulder, Colorado, they call him a terrorist, right? For what he did, right? But they not saying what Ukraine did. They not speaking on this as if it was a terroristic attack. They speaking about it like it's a Trojan horse. And not only that, they not even talking about the fact that it was bridges that was blown up that fell on top of trains that killed civilians. But let's just keep playing and listen at the psychoticness of these folks, man. I'm telling you, it's so one-sided, it's ridiculous.
Frankly, a long needed boost to Ukrainian morale suffered so badly after that Oval Office blow-up with President Donald Trump. Does this change Russia's thinking? Well, many felt these peace talks in Istanbul were another example of Moscow's slow rolling, a peace process that had very minimal interest in seeing lead to a ceasefire. But it may make the Kremlin begin to wonder, if surprises like this come along frequently enough, how long they can sustain this conflict, and it may do practical damage to their war effort too, John. So a remarkable weekend. I should point out too, record number of drones launched by Russia over the weekend, and a startling number taken out by Ukraine's electronic warfare too. So technology increasingly on Ukraine's side, John.
Yeah, Ukraine very much trying to increase the costs on Russia and what impact that could have on discussions going forward. Nick Payton-Walsh for us. Thank you, Nick.
Let's get more now on these major developments. With us now is Admiral James Sabrinas.
Check these
He is
doubles
a
out there.
CNN
Look
senior.
at them. Look. Yo, check these folks out and the way they so happy about what happened, man. But I'm not even gonna play all this because I'm beating a dead horse. But my point of what I wanted to say to y'all is that if this would have happened in America, everybody would be outraged that these folks snuck into this country, snuck weapons, drones, got them through the country, and they used them to attack military bases here in America. They would be upset. They would be in uproar. We would be ready to go to war. Now, the fact that Ukraine done this right before they're supposed to have a meeting, but they acting like it's a great thing. Oh, this is great. Oh, maybe they can do it again. But yeah, America's supposed to be fighting terrorists all over the world. America is the sample of terrorism, right? Ain't that why they're in Africa? Because all this ties back to Africa. Ain't that why they're in Burkina Faso and they're telling Ibrahim Traore and Mali and Nigeria, they're telling these countries that we're going to come help y'all fight terrorism, right? They say they're going to help them fight terrorism and we're going to get the terrorists out and this is what they're doing. But yet, Ukraine is using terroristic plays from they're doing things that terrorists do. And America they not saying anything bad about it. They actually picking it up. So it shows a double standard, right? It's when your allies are doing the terroristic things, it's okay. It's only when your adversaries are doing it that it's a problem. And this is the double standard that we have here in America with this media and how the media complex is meant to persuade people to not speak about what they see in reality and not think about it, but just think about it in the way they're trying to present it, right? Because the way they presenting this to the world like it was a great thing, but every once in a while they sneak and say, well, everybody snuck out. So everybody snuck out, that means they snuck in. But when you at war, you don't supposed to fight that type of war. Like, get what I'm saying? So it's like they're fighting, and that the Ukrainians didn't come up with this on their own. They got help. They got help, man. It's a lot of mercenaries in Ukraine that is helping them. And, this thing is just blowing out of proportion. And how do you think Russia will respond? Like, they attack bombers that can carry nukes. Y'all don't understand the severity of that. What if one of them bombers had a nuke and the nuke would have went off? Like they playing with fire. And we sitting around here eating this up, not understanding that, we 1 or 2 decisions away from nuclear warfare. 1 or 2 decisions away, and things can go haywire just like that. And these European countries like the UK and France, y'all right there by Russia. Like, what's like, yeah, I don't know, man, but this is what I see. I want to point that out, the double standard. And this is why you can't trust the media or what America has to say, because they say one thing out of one side of their mouth, but does another thing. And this is a prime example of it, man. So with that being said, man, I thank y'all for watching. Hey, what y'all thoughts, man? You said somebody said fuck USA. Ken said they are farms and property owned by people connected to Chinese military in close proximity of U.S. military bases. Yeah, military complex need dismantling. Well, I mean, you got to better protect yourself, but some of the You know, the way they going about it is crazy. But yeah, with that being said, man, I thank y'all for watching. Y'all enjoy the rest of the day. I'm gonna sign off, man. Peace and why do?